of Edinburgh and Glasgow to the island and began rebuilding the medieval abbey and monastery. Eventually, this led to the creation of the Iona community, which has, along with others, helped many to understand and expand a revival of Celtic Christianity. We see it to this day in our worship. We see it in our affirmation of faith that we will say later this morning. In the last century, Iona has become again a center for spiritual pilgrims and helped to revive Celtic spirituality in the 21st century. A year ago, your St. Columba's Day celebration was to honor and say goodbye to your beloved rector, Father Greg. Of the many gifts he generously shared with you during his ministry was a renewal of Celtic spirituality as a part of your identity. Greg introduced such Celtic scholars as John O'Donoghue and John Philip Newell to this congregation. These men, along with others, have introduced Celtic spirituality to a whole new generation here and around the world. Celtic spirituality is deeply imbued with a sense of a whole new appreciation that both creation and humans are expressions of the divine. Given our impending ecological challenges, Celtic spirituality shows us the way that God is in all creation and that we are called to cherish it as much as we are called to cherish one another. John O'Donoghue writes, "The Celtic imagination articulates the inner friendship that embraces nature, divinity, the underworld, and the human world as one. For the Celtic mind, there was no dualism. God is in everything and beyond everything." This is at the heart of Celtic spirituality. In those ancient times, when they would lay the first fire of the day, they would pray and give thanks for the divine spirit in the flame that would light the day, that would warm the house, that would cook the food. God was in everything. My favorite story of Columba that embodies this Celtic spirituality is told by John Philip Newell in his book, The Rebirthing of God. Newell writes, "Legend has it that Columba chose to pray at the setting of the sun. It was his time of solitude, so he would tell his community not to follow him to the Macker. The Macker is that part of the island on the western side, which looks out upon the vastness of the Atlantic Ocean. Columba would often go there in the early evening to pray during the setting of the sun. There was one young monk, there's always one young monk, who could not resist witnessing what the great man did when he prayed alone. The monk followed Columba late in the day, sneaking through the next valley, and there he hid behind a rock at the top of a promontory from which he was able to see Columba praying. What he saw were angels of light, ascending and descending all around him. It was as if he was covered with the light of the setting sun that so embraced him. Newell reminds us that Celtic spirituality sees light in all things and asks that we look at it, look for it, cherish it, and share it. Newell concludes, the Celtic world celebrates this as the light within all life. New science views it as the light that burst the universe into being at the beginning of time, and that still pulsates in the heart of everything that has been created. we are invited to pay attention to the light. Light that is at the heart of this moment and everything. To know that we are full of light and can shine, and when the time comes, to let it go. Newell closes with a few lines from our contemporary poet, Mary Oliver, who certainly has a Celtic sensibility. She writes, "When it is all over, I want to say, all my life I was a bride, married to amazement. I was a bridegroom, taking the world into my arms. I don't want to end up simply having visited the world." Help us to see the light that is all around us.